So you've done it! You've got through the tutorial and now you're ready to take the plunge into Star Rail. I'm proud of you guys, and I mean, we're in this together now, so awesome. If you're new here, buckle up. Last time we went over how all of this started. Wake up with amnesia, crazy monsters, and a big ol' baseball bat. Now, we're punching in and going on our first actual adventure to a planet that is totally frozen over. So now the question is, can we actually fix the frozen planet with nothing but a baseball bat and the power of friendship? Or are we gonna get down there and take another hyper beam to the forehead? It is time for the surprisingly deep story of
the Polar Express!
So, of course, this starts out with us touching down the planet. There is snow everywhere, and nobody is stoked to be in the cold. Apparently, though, we've got the power of the Trailblaze somehow because we're Pathstriders, so we don't really feel the cold all that much. While we're on the topic of snow, Marsh is really feeling herself.
I mean, come on. You've got a Stellaron in your body. I have my special 6-phased ice powers. And Dan-hung, he's got that mysterious past thing going for him.
This goes on for a while until we find a suspicious lump of snow. So from the looks of it, it's very obvious that there is a dude hiding in this pile of snow. We all pick up on it, and Dan-hung goes to stick him like a shish kebab.
Break!
Another very well-dressed guy, comparatively, so he's important. This guy is
Sampokoski,
a businessman, and he is very adamant about the fact that he is a businessman, and he is very sure of the fact that we are also business people. For what reason? Absolutely none. So, in a mutual bond of trust, he decides to take his fellow business people to the capital city because we're having trouble getting there. Golly, I wonder why. It's our first time here. But he doesn't really register that. So out of the kindness of his heart, he decides to walk us over, and about 5 minutes in, we're stopped by the guards because Sampo is just way too sus. In this little debacle of us trying to tell them, hey, we're from space. We're trying to help the planet. They think we're crazy, and in the confusion, Sampo hits the dips because these are the guards and he doesn't want to be caught because he's very obviously a criminal. So while Sampo runs away and leaves us with the authorities, we've got to fight back and try to state our case. So once it's come to blows and we decide, hey, you know, maybe we're not gonna fight anymore, we bond over our mutual distaste for
Sampokoski,
and we agree to go follow the guards to the city. So we're off to a great start. We have just touched down the planet. As a group now, thankfully, we're not just by ourselves. We've gotten harassed by the locals, and now the locals are taking us to a second location. Not what I would call very good. So now we're in said second location, this capital city of Belobog, this bastion of normalcy amid the cold, you know? It's like a giant snow globe, effectively, or like an inverse snow globe, if you want to call it that. The snow's everywhere except here. So we are told to bring our story to somebody called the Supreme Guardian. I think Supreme Guardian is uniquely an evil title. My bias aside, we go and we speak to the Supreme Guardian as we're told to, because I mean, foreign dignitaries, I guess, we gotta say, hey, we're here to save the planet. So she's cool. She's gonna put us up in the hotel. She's gonna see that we get help. Everybody's chill. She's like, all right, listen, you guys are our honored guests from beyond the sky. I'm taking your story at face value. I'm gonna put you up in this hotel. You're gonna be great. You're gonna do great. We all leave, and she's got the evil advisor right behind her immediately.
Of course, I understand.
We just barely miss the weird evil thing happening in Kokolia's office, and we're gonna go see the city because we're here, we might as well. After we've been harassed and we're surrounded by soldiers, we've got nothing better to do. So we're gonna go meet people like distinguished dressed woman, who I'm sure is important because she looks different. So we head back to the hotel to recap, and everybody agrees that the Supreme Guardian was sus. Who could have guessed? So maybe we're just reading too far into it. Maybe we're just like a bit tired. Let's go to bed. We'll figure it out in the morning. We'll go talk to her again. What's the worst that could happen? One quick nightmare later, and we're getting swatted. We head outside to see what all the fuss is about, and we get told that we have 0 rights. They're all gone. So we're gonna have to go with them or face the wrath because we're gonna have to see a judge and go through the entire legal process because reasons. We don't like the sound of that now, do we? Hi, me from the future. I might have glazed over a crazy word. Fragmentum is the area of space that is getting messed up by the Stellaron. It was the crazy space portal. It's why we're seeing all the monsters. It's all this weird, wacky space magic mojo that is getting messed up because the Stellaron is here and active. So we jumped into the weird space portal to hopefully get away from them and really did our best to run away. But like a teacher seeing vape smoke in a classroom, Bronya finds us real quick. So once it does come to blows, Bronya pulls a gun on us. And because of that, she gets a baseball bat to the head because she didn't want to speak about this nicely. In the middle of this chaos, we get hit by the real Vape Nash, and everybody gets knocked out. We dream again of the other orb because our orb longs for companionship, or something like, I don't know. We're still kind of winging it on the whole Stellaron thing. So once we finally wake up, we end up in a doctor's office where everything is completely different from the place we were just at. All the colors, all the lighting, everything is a complete 180. So there's this nice doctor lady that was taking care of us. She's gonna give us the TLDR, and she lets us know. So now we've got to find our friends who woke up first because they went to look for the chief of this group called Wildfire, who apparently has the capability to help us here. We walk right outside and see March playing with some kids who apparently are going to tell her where Wildfire is. So of course we have to step out and babysit better than her and absolutely whoop their asses at hide and seek. Because our frontal lobe is developed and theirs is inferior. So what they can tell us is that they saw the green guy go into the Fight Club. And I thought,
you do not talk about Fight Club.
So there actually is a Fight Club. The Fight Club is a real place, and it is a blood sport ring that the kids seem to know about and have been around. The underground sounds great. We get in and we get to see the headliner match. Oh, Dragon Young versus some robots. Of course, it's our boy, and we've got to go in there and help him beat up the robots. I doubt we had to help him, but we're gonna help him anyways. So once the match is over, we gotta figure out what the hell's going on, how did we get here, like what's the deal? So we actually see Sampo in the crowd, and I'm sure he was placing some bets on our boy Cold Dragon Young because he knew he was gonna trash the robots, make some quick bucks. So once we see him, we hit the dips, try to catch him because we're going to give him a full in-street view interrogation. So apparently, he was only doing it for our safety, and he only dipped the first time because you needed somebody watching from the shadows. Who was gonna give you backup if I got caught? But at the end of the day, he still hit us with knockout gas. That was all that smoke going in our lungs, and that is not cool. Dare. So when we're about to run his pockets and take his shoes, he deflects by telling us, hey, I also brought Bronya down here, and people down here don't like people up there, so she's probably in trouble. Sure enough, we see an engagement down the street where she's about 3 seconds away from getting turned into a Pollock painting.
All right, princess, let's dispense with the pleasantries.
You dare attack someone on our turf? Well, how about a few rounds with me?
But she thankfully gets saved by a mysterious girl with a scythe that can move faster than bullets. She's got bullet time? I guess this goes in the tier list, but I'm not sure where bullet time ranks and what we've seen already. So this is Sela, and apparently she's one of the people in Wildfire that we have to talk to. Thankfully, that checkbox is marked. So this chief of Wildfire is in the mine, and he's trying to settle a dispute that happened because some scavengers are trying to overrule the first dibs rule of the people who found this giant vein of mineral. So the main issue is that people are stealing, but it gets worse because the giant mineral is kind of what keeps everybody warm on the frozen planet. Both up and down. This is the same stuff they use up there to keep those heaters working. So now we've really got to address the fact that the underworld and the overworld are completely closed off from each other. That's a problem in and of itself because the underworld has no resources. They're stuck underground. Everything has kind of gone to pot once again. And Belobog lives nice and clean, and you can see that thematically. The underground is grim, it's darker, everything is colored like brown and orange, and you go up to Belobog, white, blue, gold, perfect, pristine, mwah. Oh, you can eat off the floor, it's so clean. So this is where the story starts to get darker, because we're seeing the effects. Hello, it's me in a vest and a top hat. Some of the more astute of you might be thinking, isn't his view on Belobog's politics and themes a bit reductive? Yes, it's funny. If we're talking power scale, this place is way under where we were at the space station. I mean, we could probably handle here in our sleep. One baseball bat is more than enough. Doomsday Beast, get out of here. Like, we got a shield and we got a gun. Oh, not even a gun, a musket. We've got a musket. Point being, nothing here seems like it matters comparatively. We're more than totally fine if we have already beaten a planet destroyer. So we've got a whole bunch of planetary politics and difficulties happening, and of course, as a shonen protag, our heart must be bleeding, but we're not really a shonen protag here. We kind of want to help. Of course, we want to fix the planet, but we've got one real mission, and that's to fix the Stellaron. So anything between us and that, they got in the way. We sent them to go get peanuts and Cracker Jacks, like they're all getting the baseball bat. Once we're a bit further into the mine, we find a third party, robots. So the robots seem to be trying to peacekeep, and in trying to peacekeep, they're attacking everybody. So the robots are also an issue here for both the people that are stealing the resources and for the people that are trying to protect them. Either way, they gotta go. So we gotta bust up all of these robots. We go through a nice little wave of them until we find the boss of the robots. We actually do get to see the boss of them, and he is actually the most dripped out robot I've ever seen. This is Optimus Prime's swaggy grandpa. Like, who the fuck is this? Svarog? Where did you get those slacks, Giorgio Armani? We got his niece here too, or whatever, some little girl. So we overhear Drip King and his niece talking about the thing that people are fighting over, and I kind of downplayed it earlier. It is a massive vein. Whoever got it would be rich beyond all imagination in the underground. So Svarog mentions that he's doing all these calculations because he's a robot. The calculations are exclusively to protect the underworld. And this protecting people thing comes at all costs. It doesn't matter what anybody says. And that is pretty rough to hear for his little Jiminy Cricket. Sela pulls up in the middle of their conversation and she wants to get down to brass tacks, just kick his ass and get it over and done with. Hearing this, Svarog calls on,
We're Costco guys.
and we give him one big boom! So once we're finally done with everything else that could have possibly gone wrong in this mine, we stumble on Oleg, who was here. Awesome. We finally get to ask him about the Stellaron. Might have forgot to mention that. We've got Bronya with us, and the Supreme Guardian is her mother. Whoopsie. Important detail. So Oleg's talking about how the overworld has kind of screwed everything up down here, and it's rough, and the Supreme Guardian is really awful. And Bronya's like, don't talk bad about my mommy! Shut up! He just goes on a freaking rant to shut her back up, because the Supreme Guardian actually does kind of suck. She's sus, she's got an evil advisor, everything is going wrong, likely because the Supreme Guardian has a hand in it. She swatted us. That's a charge in and of itself. So his answer to our question about the Stellaron, the person who probably knows about it, is Svarog, because he's an ancient robot. All of these robots are ancient. So let's pedal it back a bit. We gotta remember, people from Belobog and from this whole planet of Jarilo-VI do not know about space, about interstellar travelers, about any of that. All the tech they have here is leftovers. They've got leftovers from when people used to be able to go out into the sky.
Your mom's an antiquity.
Svarog is probably like the most advanced robot and like one of the most ancient. He's our best bet in figuring out what happened with the Stellaron. With all of that said and done, we decide to group up and head back because we gotta get some rest. It's been hectic, and Oleg will find us a way to get to Svarog in the morning. But how did they actually, stepping aside for a second, I have never really even thought about this. How do they tell? How do they know, like, when it's daytime and when it's nighttime? I actually, like, I've never put that together before. I mean, I guess clocks, like, it would help to have a clock, but outside of that, you look up and it's cave. So he sets us up at the Geeth Hotel, again. The same name of the hotel that we stayed in the overworld where we got swatted. So everybody's like, vibes are off. We're not doing this. So eventually we all group back up and Oleg goes to talk to Bronya to say, hey, I'm gonna drop some truth on you. You're gonna learn today. Here's your first lesson in politics. Your mom's a dick. So now it's time for us to get to sleep, rest our weary little head, And of course,
Nightmare, nightmare, nightmare.
we actually start to dream about Cocolia freaking the hell out, like just in her office, slamming. Just, where is she? We got no sleep and woke up tired. So our only option is to go out and walk. And on our little walk, we see Bronya, who was like, yeah, I couldn't sleep either. You know, Oleg, he was kind of spitting some facts. I got a lot to think about. Nah, I'm not really proud of what's been going on. Okay, we're gonna settle our differences real quick. You pulled a gun on me, I rightfully hit you with a baseball bat. You know, we'll call it even. So on our little walk, we hear Nat and Sela kind of panicking because they've got no resources. Like, everything's out. We've got nothing to treat the soldiers. We've got nothing to treat the people who got injured. And there's nowhere else that has any resources because the fragmentum is spreading. And the only places that might have resources are already messed up by the fragmentum, which is the Stellaron doing all of this mess. So we offer our services kindly because, of course, we are the Trailblazer. And we've got Little Miss Musket over here who's like, yeah, I'm gonna make a change too. We got steps in the right direction. Good on ya. I'm gonna recommend you some podcasts. So we've got to go to the dangerous area called Rivet Town. Rivet Town's already been ravaged by the fragmentum. Everything is messed up. You got monsters, you got torn space, you got all these weird growths. So hopefully we can find some uncorrupted supplies there. So we get to Rivet Town and Bronya's like, huh, this is oddly familiar. I wonder what's gonna happen next. We check around the place and just to see that everything's kind of been picked clean, and we find traces and eventually a child who is hoarding all of the stuff. Sela apparently knows him as a thief and lays into him excessively. The kid still tries to charge us Ed and Nettie style for whatever kind of doodads he has there. Sela is absolutely not having it. She lays into this kid. Just continuously calls him a liar, says he's awful, he's just terrible, people are gonna die, it's his fault. The kid's saying he's getting stuff for his sick dad, he's trying to afford medicine. The kid's like 6. Bronya's like, yo, listen, I'm trying to earn my stripes here. Kid, take the badge, you're gonna have this. It's really valuable, just promise me you won't steal anymore. And the kid's like, okay. So now we've got most of the supplies. Problem solved. We just need some painkillers, which we can't find. So we gotta head up the hill to the big old house, and it turns out that's actually Nat's old orphanage. She used to run it. So awesome. If there are gonna be painkillers anywhere, it's gonna be up there. Once we step a single foot in there, Bronya's like, oh, golly, I remember. Oh, I'm from here. Whoa. So before the underworld and the overworld were separated, the next Supreme Guardian would be chosen from all of the children in Belobog, not just like the elites, it was every child. So Bronya apparently got plucked as a kid straight from this orphanage, and then she was raised to be the next Supreme Guardian. So now it's like a bit of an issue. She probably had her memory messed up to like not remember any of this, or was just conditioned out of her. So Bronya's rightfully very emotional. She's like, oh god, how can I forget? And I've been doing, like, the people down here are just trying to live, and like, I'm even from here, and like, my mom's kind of a dick, and I don't know what's going on. And you gotta give her a moment, right? Sela, being the therapist friend, says, get over it, you crybaby bitch, you stupid bitch baby. Fuck you, get over it. You don't get to cry, we got work to do. Get up! Bronya locks in and thanks Sela, who has been nothing but lacking in empathy and completely excessive this whole time. But no, it was great advice. Thanks, Sela. We're friends now. You get me. And I mean, like, if I'm being honest, I did not pick up on this my first time playing. Sela is awful. Sela is like a D&D fireball in a room of civilians. Nothing but excessive. So we leave them to have some alone bonding time and go rummage through some more stuff, where we find Clara also rummaging through stuff. And it turns out she also needs painkillers, so we're kind of at an impasse. Where one answer would be to break the rules. The other answer is we split them 50-50 because Clara has people that actually need them and we need them for the town, so hey, everybody walks away happy. So now that we have the painkillers, we can all head back, we tell them what went on, and we speak to Nat. She finds out, oh, Clara got the painkillers? Okay, they're going to a good place, we're all cool. Now we meet up with the gang and we find out that our guide to go see Svarog is...
It's me, Pitch Dark Hook the Great!
I think there's been a misunderstanding. I will be Samfokoski.
Nothing bad's gonna happen. I just want to remind y'all that these people have been isolated for 500 years, and now we have an entire gaggle, like a whole gang of Scooby-Doo mystery machines worth of people who are taking us at face value and saying, yup, you guys are from the space train, you're gonna fix the planet. We've been in an ice age for 500 years, you guys got it. I'm sure you do. I'm sure you do. So once we do make it to Svarog's place, we cannot get in because we need to be authorized because he's a robot and this is a robot camp. Awesome. Fetch quest 1, 2, 3, and we still get denied. So our train of thought for this is, hey, maybe Clara can help. You know, she's always with Svarog, the big robot, and maybe she'll be able to let us in. So we ask our little robot buddy, hey, where's Clara? And he goes, hey, she went to go into a dangerous place by herself. So we go to the dangerous place where she is supposedly by herself, and she's not by herself. She's getting harassed by a monster. So we gotta kill the monster, save Clara. And she's like, awesome. Thanks for saving me. What's up? You guys are friendly, right? Like, what could you want? I want to talk to Svarog. Nope. No, you can't do that. No. You're never convincing him. You're not talking to him. You're not talking to him.
You lose! Good day, sir!
So we get back to Svarog's place where I guess the only other course of action would be, but we see Clara struggling with something. So it's like, okay, goodness of our hearts, we are the Trailblazer. We're gonna go help you out with your thing. One little puzzle later, and she's like, wow, it's working like normal. So we're like, we're trying to talk to Svarog. Nope, not happening. After a little back and forth, we go and we say, we are from space, and he hasn't calculated us into his robot brain. So maybe if we tell him that, we're gonna be an outlier, because he has to make a new calculation, since we're all from space. She goes with it.
Everyone, follow me.
So we finally get to talk to Svarog, and he even thanks us. He's like, hey, thanks for helping Clara. Great. Awesome, what do you need? We ask him about the Stellaron, and it immediately goes wrong. Stellaron is classified information in his brain, and it's under supreme lockdown. So he asks us why we need it, what are we gonna do with it, why we're even here. None of the answers are sufficient, so he goes into full Terminator mode. So we're going back and forth with Svarog, and I mean, we are not making any progress. Guy has not even creased his slacks yet. We get some backup from Nat, who was around the entire time, thankfully. And we make some headway. We beat Svarog up until he's spitting up more smoke than a 1920s commercial flight. So once he's on his last legs, Nat's about to use her rocket launcher to blow off his central processor. And right before she does that, Clara steps in and goes, stop fighting! So this act of kindness melts Svarog's robot heart. And he actually undoes all of the mental locks and says, hey, I will tell you what I know about the Stellaron. So now we've got a big old lore dump that I'm gonna TLDR for you real quick. From the get-go, all of the Supreme Guardians knew the Stellaron was bad. The Stellaron was whispering sweet nothings into their ear, and they're all like, nah, we are preserving, you know, the big guy, the Aeon? Yeah. They know that guy. All of the research where the Stellaron was to destroy it. They knew the Stellaron was the cause of everything, and they wanted to bust it up. After a while, all the scientists started to die out because they got too old. They never found a fix, and eventually Svarog got found by a recovery crew who came around God knows how many years later, probably like 100, 200 plus. So now we've got a Supreme Guardian that fell to the call of the Stellaron. She actually clicked on the phishing email. She did all of the things you were not supposed to do because she is the Supreme Guardian and she didn't follow the rules, but she broke the first rule. So everything else got fucked up. So after all that sudden, then we're like, hey, Nat, I mean, thanks for the help, but like, why are you here? And she goes, oh, I mean, I'm actually the leader of Wildfire. Sorry about that. I mean, not that it changes much, you know? I mean, we were working with her the whole time. But as a doctor, she tells us to get some rest because we've been at it for about 2 days. And of course, still very little way of knowing. So we head back to town to talk with March and Don Hung, who actually think this expedition is going swimmingly. How? This is light work to them. So I can only imagine what is to come. We still don't know exactly where the Stellaron is, but we have more of a lead now. We're also having the weird dreams, which could be clues, and the running theory is it's because we have a Stellaron inside of us. And I mean, yeah, I guess, like that, what else would it be, you know? We finally get to bed, and it cuts to Bronya and Sela having a little bonding moment at the orphanage. Aw, they're blushing and bonding, and, you know, thankfully not calling each other names this time, and not haranguing the other for being a human and having emotions. But it's cut short real quick, because Bronya says, hey, I'm gonna go back up top and talk to Mom, because things are not good. I gotta be the one to set this straight. Sela's like, nope, you're not doing that. It's gonna be dangerous. You're gonna get hurt. Like, you can't. We're with you. You have a whole team of people that is gonna go up there with you and fix the problem. And Bronya's like, nope, I'm going up solo. So Bronya gives Sela a letter to give to us and goes up solo when we're asleep, because that was a good plan. So with the whole gang together in the morning, we actually learn about Bronya leaving by herself. And everybody's like, hey, that was kind of a dumb call. And, you know, agreed upon, almost unilaterally. So now we have to have a guide to the overworld, because we're not going to get up there without going through the furnace core, and we got to figure out some other bypath to get up there. And our guide is...
Sanfokoski.
So we read the letter, and Bronya says in it, hey, I gotta go back up, and I gotta at least try to talk to my mom, because I know she loves me. I'm her little princess, and I'm sure that I can somehow stop her from being an evil dictator. And we can all solve the problem together. I have to at least try. If things do go south, you gotta hit up my friends up there, Serval and Gepard Landau. That's actually super convenient. I mean, we know Serval and she's cool, and I'm sure if we just talk to Gepard, he's gonna be open-minded enough when we tell him that the Supreme Guardians
Ends here!
Well, all of that's going down, and we're prepping to go to the overworld. It cuts to Bronya, who actually does make it up there safely. She's all good and fine. She's talking to her mom, who's happy to see her, and then who masks off so quick you'd think she's about to summon a persona.
Enough! Arrogant. Ignorant. You disappoint me, Bronya.
And, whoa, I mean, that might be a tinge of racism, I fear. Cocolia proceeds to call Bronya a stupid little nothing know-it-all who is stuck up and does not know the truth of the world. You're a spoiled brat, and you are dumb, and I hate you. Bronya has been catching strays this entire time. I get that Bronya is like a stupid little princess who just grew up sheltered and all this. Chill for 2 seconds. Let her live, please. So after... this verbal abuse tangent, Cocolia is like, you know what? You're gonna have to see it for yourself. This is the best thing. It's the only thing. It's the only thing we ever need. And Bronya's like, I mean, sure, Mom, I guess. So they go off to presumably see the Stellaron. So we get up to the admin district, and it's time to, you know, start the quest. But we are still fugitives, and there are guards everywhere. So we gotta hit the dips and at least try to find Serval. We knock on her door, and I think she might be the most open-minded person on the planet. We're a group of fugitives that have met her one time. Once! And she's like, oh my god, my best friends who helped me with the robot. Come in. Come, have some coffee, take my food. So she's gonna hear us out too, and she actually sits through the whole thing. Normally I'd be like, oh wow, she's taking it all at face value. Like, actually, this is the one character who has a reason, thankfully. Serval originally was a member of the Architects, i.e. the scientists who were around Svarog's memories and like the people who kind of uphold Belobog from the shadows and with all their science machinations. So she's dumb smart. But Cocolia was like, actually, you are studying the Stellaron and you're trying to mess with it, so you are evil and I hate you. You lose your job. So she's ejected from the Architects, and she knows all of Cocolia's tricks and stirring up lies and getting people excited. So she's like, yeah, no, listen, it's bad news. I know what's up. We're gonna fix it. And we're gonna go with her to just go to the Stellaron and start trying to fix the problem. So she suspects that it is in the Northern District, the most restricted zone of Belobog. So we're gonna have to go through an entire soldier encampment to maybe get to see the Stellaron. So thankfully, it should be a walk in the park, getting in there, getting out, because she knows everybody over there. On the way out, Gepard knocks on the door because she forgot that he was gonna visit today. So we narrowly avoid getting caught by the single person who should not be the one to catch us, and then need to go to the place where he is likely gonna be stationed. A great turn of events. So once we're in there, the guard at the front actually knows Serval. He's like, hey, it's been a minute. Like, yeah, we gotta catch up. And she's like, no, not today. I'm here on work business. And she makes up something about us being her assistants to go fix some power cables. They're like, you know, I shouldn't really be doing this, but yeah, go on in. So they let us in with next to no questions, and we get almost all the way in, but we see that somebody's been messing around with like the power cables, like actually. So somebody's been tampering with it on purpose. We go further in and we see the reactor core. He's like, all right, we got to go in there to fix it. And the guy in front is like, can't let you do that. You're gonna have to talk to the acting captain right now. So we got to go all the way back around and find the acting captain and hopefully lie our way into getting his ticket. Thankfully for all of us, It turns out this is another one of Serval's old buddies. And even more thankfully, this guy, Captain Dunn, is down horrific.
Serval, it's been a long time. You're still so... You look good.
Dunn is down so horrific that we, the Trailblazer, pick up on it and actually start trying to harass him for it. I mean, the options are actually calling us and like, oh, you know you like her. So she's like, hey, buddy, you know, I kind of gotta ask you for a favor. Give us the ticket, please. And he's like, you know, we used to be in a band together. Why do you need the ticket? Gepard told me to. Gepard, you know, who actually just left for the front line. I mean, I can go call him back here. Yeah, let's maybe not do that. So Dunn offers her an out. He's like, hey, listen, I get it. Like, maybe they're pressuring you. I will let you go scot-free as long as you turn them in because they are fugitives. You're my friend. I can do at least that. And Serval, again, the most open-minded person on the planet, like our actual ride and die, is like, nope.
I brought you guys here, and I'm standing with you till the end.
So we gotta fight Dunn, who has had probably the hardest line in this entire planet.
My rock and roll soul is to uphold the dignity of a soldier.
He's a mini-boss! So we knock out Dunn and we take the key card and we run back, and of course the place is on high alert. Alarms are blaring everywhere. We gotta make a real big run for it, try to fix everything up and get the hell out. So we get to the energy hub, we fix it, we're able to rotate the rotating bridge and run across to what is being called a frozen hell. Once we're about to exit to the place where we need to go to, who else but the man himself, Gepard. So Gepard immediately calls out Serval. He's like, hey sister, I know you're rebellious, and I know you can be kind of stupid. Stop it, you're being bad. She's like, no, we're trying to fix the planet. You're the one who's being stupid and closed-minded. Let us through or I will have to beat you up. So Serval really did her absolute best to try to convince Gepard to go down without a fight. It still ends up in a fight. And I mean, one of the things that I noticed a little bit too late for my liking, they're siblings. So Serval fights with the electric guitar. That's cool, like, it's awesome. Gepard, he doesn't fight with the shield. He actually fights with her guitar case. That's sick. That's awesome. I just hate him as like a functional character, but like his design, like I love that. So even though we're beating the absolute pudding out of him, he's not going down. This dude is resilient. After a while, he's the only one standing. He's like, all right, I'm gonna interpret the rules differently. You guys are really determined. I will let you through. We're gonna call it that and leave it there. So he goes to let us out and he warns us, I'm gonna open this door. There are going to be a lot of monsters. So we're gonna have to fight them the second I open this door. We open the door, fight the monsters. Gepard gets clapped and Serval's like, listen, you guys go ahead. I gotta deal with my stupid little brother because the shield's busted and I'm one of the few that can fight. Granted, okay, we at least know we're going in the right direction. So we're in the home stretch down. We see Welt and Himiko talking on the train, and Welt's like, you know, it's kind of getting dicey. Maybe we should go down and help them. And Himiko's like, nah, they're doing fine. Like, what's an adventure without a little bit of conflict? I mean, there are no Aeon or Emanator level reactions. The words are coming out again. Even still, maybe we can help them just a tiny bit. And it's left at that, so we don't know what their tiny bit of help is. So past the restricted zone is a super fragmentum. This place is absolutely gone. But thankfully, it's also a sign that we're going in the right direction because we see what apparently is an echo of the people who were here before, which are Cocolia and Bronya, who are talking about the Stellaron and going to see it. So of course, it's easy enough to do all the puzzles and just follow the way they went because we're seeing all the echoes either way. A little bit of the way into there, we actually start to hear the Stellaron in our own brain. It's talking. So that's not a great sign. And everybody's like, I mean, you know, it's gonna happen. We might as well keep on trucking. We find some more strong monsters. One of them looks kind of like a human. And on the way out, we see the echo of Cocolia, which has gained sentience and is trying to defend the way that they went. So we have to fight an echo of like a tuned down Cocolia, who already is kind of strong. So we beat it up, and I mean, it's a taste of the ending, so everybody's like, you know, this is the final stretch. Like, whatever happens next is for all of the marbles, including the frozen one that we're all standing on. We gotta figure out our progress, it gives you a save point and says, hey, player, you're gonna fight a boss. So once that's said and done, we rush through and it looks like a scrap heap because there's like a bunch of metal everywhere and it's still all snowed over. So we get up there and we see Cocolia having a speech with Bronya. They're trying to have some kind of dialogue, but Cocolia has absolutely lost it. She's really doing her best to dark side Bronya, but she is too far gone. She's going on about humanity, it's so spoiled and awful and blah, blah, blah. We have to return to the way it was meant to be without humanity. And Bronya's like, yo, actually, yeah, my mom is kind of a dick. We step in and Bronya's like, oh, thank God. We double down and she tries to clap back at her. And Cocolia's like, you know, you kind of just suck and are dumb. So she flips out and it begins.
This engine of creation!
It's one of the architect's ancient machines! Watch out, all of you!
So she can fly! And she has a giant robot! Again, our resources fairly limited. We're going through the monsters, trying to mow our way down to get to Cocolia and actually bring the fight to her because she's, you know, flying with the giant robot. In our progress, the robot is lasering us. It cannot be fun to get lasered by a robot the size of the Empire State Building. And suddenly, when the robot is about to punch us, its arm blows up. The orbital cannon. It actually got used. We saw the orbital cannon. It takes out the robot's arm. Get out of here. Everybody immediately goes, here we go. Yup, that's our girl. Once the robot gets its arm blown off, we gotta go hardcore parkour all the way up there.
I'll cover you!
Grab hold of me!
And it looks sick. On rewatching it, even the little details like Dan Heng throwing his spear so the Trailblazer can like loop-de-loop off of it and like, oh, come on, that's just rad. So we get there and she's gone. I mean, she's full cuckoo. We just got up there with like the coldest stance possible. This 1v1 is gotta be good, right? Turns out the 1v1 is not good. It's actually like going pretty badly. We've broken at least 16 rules and the punishment for breaking the rules is so we're waking up in space. Oh, it's the place we got blasted to when we took the hyper beam for March. Now we gotta take a long jaunt through here and we're seeing all of the memories of Cocolia progressively getting worse and worse and worse. Turns out, yes, she was awful. All the time. So we get almost to the center of this space path thing, and there is a child and something in the floor. We talk to the kid, and the kid's like, oh, it's kinda clipped. The kid turns out to be the collective will of all of the past Supreme Guardians. You know, all of the ones that held out against the Stellaron. And even they're like, oh my God, it is so done. We're so cooked. Clip off the preservation, like he's not even here anymore. Like, what do we even do? And we're like, you know, maybe somebody else can preserve things. It doesn't have to just be you guys. And they're like, I mean, what else can go wrong? Go try to get the gaze of Klipoth. Might I remind you, the gaze of an Aeon is like a nutty thing. Even to be noticed by one is an achievement in itself. time for round 2, bitch. This boss fight is what completely converted me on this game. Everything from the new power buff, to the music, to the attacks, the way the designs are. Oh, it's all so good. Call it whatever you want, but I mean, when you're pulling back up with a power buff and the music's going crazy, and you're wailing on her one weakness because you are preserving the will of the Guardians that she abandoned, that is freaking sick, okay? That's just awesome. I love it. And even on top, that just wasn't enough. It had to get more cool. The robot starts punching her. Now we've got the robot. This lady's getting office space. It's over, it's clipped. So she got decked by the robot a few times and now she's had enough of it. So she starts charging up what looks like a meteor. And this is phase 2, baby. The music got lyrics.
We made a choice, go fight against your fate.
Even in the Trailblazers art, like the new art for the fire one, you can see the people you worked with on Belobog because you are preserving their will. You're carrying it on. You're doing the thing. Come on. So we stab her with the fire lance a bunch, and eventually she goes down. She's seen that she's gonna lose, so in a last-ditch effort, she's like, you know, you might have won, but I'm not gonna lose. So she tries to blow herself up with the Stellaron, only to not have that happen, and she just gets snapped out of existence. So we just get to see Kekolia's last moments. She poofs in front of us, including Bronya, her daughter. Emotions are running high. Everybody's like, oh, we couldn't avoid that? Shucks. Like, that sucks. While everything is happening in very quick succession, March goes, whoa, what a trailblaze, huh? Wow, that was a really cool one. The worst thing you'd say while Bronya's like right in front of you, she keeps catching strays. So now we all gotta take a beat and think like, okay, how are we going to explain that the dictator just died and we're just expecting to have Bronya be the next Supreme Guardian? Everybody kind of convinces Bronya, we peer pressure her into lying about Kekolia. The story is, Kekolia sacrificed herself to stop the Stellaron and save the planet. In her final moments, she assured us that Bronya would be the Supreme Guardian. I mean, if you know, you know. Like, we're gonna keep it at that, and everybody's gonna be happy because we're not gonna have any more of this overworld, underworld stuff. Everybody's gonna be good. Bronya is rightfully about to pass out right there. So Seal is like, okay, we're just gonna head back before you guys, you do your thing. They head back, and the second they're gone, March and Donhung immediately clock us with like, yo, what the hell was that? How did you just spawn a new power? You just got another one? Or like, I mean, I don't know. I just saw God, I guess. So now the next step is telling all the pals we made along the way that everything turned out peaches and cream, and they can go to the overworld now, because Bronya's the Supreme Guardian, she's not gonna stop any of that. So we tell the children who have never seen sunlight in their lives, they're actually called the moles. I just realized that. They're called the moles because they've never seen sunlight. Oh my god. Okay, that's really freaking sad. We tell the moles, we tell Nat, we tell everybody else, and eventually we end up at Bronya's inauguration ceremony, which is happening like the same 3 hours or something. Like it's a really short time frame. And she came up with a speech, I guess, on the way there. So Bronya's real great on improv. So in this speech, everybody's real happy because she's setting the stage for a new Belobog. With her as the Supreme Guardian, everything is actually gonna be better. We're not gonna be a dictatorship, and make sure that people have resources and are not dying underground. Fix the planet, Bronya's Supreme Guardian, everything's going better. All good. You do have to kindly remind her though that the planet is still messed up. It's not gonna get fixed that quick. You guys are just gonna have to start planting the seed. It's gonna be cold for a while. Time to say our goodbyes, take some photos, you know, like have a jolly old time for our memories of Jarilo-VI and Belobog. And the one final thing we wanna do while we're here is get an actual night of sleep at the nice hotel. So that's what we're gonna do. Get to the hotel, and the one whisper we hear, it's not the Stellaron.
At the end of your journey, all that perplexes you and troubles you will resolve.
Oh, my heart! Oh, it's her. So while we're asleep, it actually cuts to
Samfokoski.
He's talking directly to the camera, breaking the fourth wall. He's talking to us. So he asks us, the people playing the game, to say hi to the people at the tavern, which we don't know what it means yet. There's a lot of other stuff that builds into that. Not touching that. That's a whole other thing. we finally get to go home back to the train. Our nice cozy train car where things are way safer. And we need to leave almost immediately because we gotta dip before more anomalies show up that may be residual. So we go straight in our merry way once again. Bronya and Sela actually see us in the sky as a little shooting star. Oh, look at that. Our hope for the planet has left. We did it. So while we're getting nice and cozy in the train, everything is peaches again. Dan Heng is in his room, and apparently he's having a nightmare.
Of 5 people, 3 must pay a price. You are one of them.
Incredibly ominous. That was Belobog, and I mean, that was, again, like I said, a doozy. So that was the part of the game that really locked me in, like especially that final boss fight. I could not stop yapping about it for like a week. I was just so hooked at that point. Excuse my ramble, but I was also first playing it during a time where I needed something like this. Like it really came to me at a time where it was necessary. So Belobog always has like a nice space in my heart. I mean, all of Star Rail does, but specifically knowing that's what got me into the game, you know, that Cocolia boss fight was just chef's kiss, like incredible. So thank you guys for stopping around once again, and I will see you sometime